其实我们一染一刻这个频道呢，关注中国的汽车出海有一段时间了。我们经常收到这样一种论调：一染，你不要老讲欧洲有欧洲的情况，欧洲有欧洲的文化，欧洲有欧洲的习惯，这些习惯在大趋势、在新技术的浪潮面前不值一提。他们老把现在的这个欧洲的汽车比喻成当年的诺基亚手机，在我看来这是非常偷换概念的一个事情啊！全球手机行业 CD 机、Walkman、磁带机一直在全球是一种流行，就每一个时代有共通的流行品，但汽车行业从来就没有出现过这种事情。美国流行大皮卡，中国流行五菱宏光和理想 ONE， 欧洲流行高尔夫，到了东南亚又是东南亚的情况，到了日本有 K Car， 这是有原因的啊！这个市场一直是多元的，过去如此，未来亦然。
After 2 times travel in Europe, one is last December, one is this time of the Europe and China. I think for the majority, they still could not enjoy BEV due to high price. Even in China, the BEV pricing is still higher than petrol vehicles. Even some thought China has rapid growth in electric vehicle markets, but this year, for the last 2 or 3 months, the BEV growth is quite limited in China. It stopped. What do you think, for example, like Italian, when or under which condition people can really enjoy BEV? I mean, the majority of people.
We talk about this every day, I think. Being reasonably affordable, which means either having a lower price or having a lower monthly payment. At least not more than the petrol car. And this is the first point. The second point is the speed of charging. I mean, if you think about what is happening now with the normal wall box in a house where you need to spend 8 hours to charge your car, it's gonna be tough to be spread to all the people. But if we think about having a, let's say, speed charging, which we can imagine that is 15 minutes for reaching the 80% of the battery, this can be considered something which enables the transition and which allows in a more practical and real way to adopt this kind of electric mobility to everyone. Because in this way you don't need a private parking spot. Here is the same, all the historical, let's say, all the historical building in the central circle of Milan. It's very few that has the parking spot around the building. He's from Rome, for example. Every time you dig in Rome, you find something historical. Yes. Then you have to stop to build a new house.
Yeah. Theoretically, the new Rome should have been built in a different place. And we should have kept the ancient Rome as a museum. Yeah. But things went in a different way. So basically, whenever you dig, as he said, if you want to, for instance, to build an underground, a metro, it's impossible. It takes 20 years because every second meter you find something, an old piece of something. Infrastructure is one of the problems we have in this country. We are not that bad in terms of numbers of recharging points, but on the highways, horrible situation so far, and high-speed charging points also not developed.
大家会发现他们没有谈激光雷达，没有谈超级大算力芯片，没有谈自动驾驶软件，也更没有谈什么软件第一汽车这种狗屁胡说的东西。
Currently in US and in China, the automakers like Tesla or NIO or Li Xiang, they control their own shops and face the customer by themselves. Currently, it went well in China. What do you see for the future of car sales?
It's a very interesting and very delicate question. Depends also to whom you put this question. Now you're putting this question to a distributor. So, yeah. So, well, let me say, I try to answer the question in a neutral way, possibly in an objective way. There is a huge value. We still see a huge value in the human contact between people. People need to understand, they need to test, they need to touch, and for this you need a physical place where someone is ready to support you. Also, you need someone who is ready to understand your needs and to provide you the best service in terms of a lot of things. Insurance, financing, trading in your used car. It's very difficult to imagine that OEMs with few, let me say, flagship stores, mainly aiming at providing you a brand experience, can answer these questions and answer these needs. So what I see happening is probably a combination of these two aspects, which would be the most intelligent way: OEMs caring for the image part and distributors caring for the customer support.
I think that they do are different jobs. If you want to be a very niche OEM, which produce supercar, this kind of, let's say, very low number wise product, you can go and probably you produce few cars per year and you have more customers than cars, so it can be an easy job. If you want to place yourself as one of the main OEM in the competitive arena of the automotive, you need to have a deep and experienced organization which take care of all the aspects, all the facets of the distribution and of the negotiation, of the after sales, of everything related to really being in touch of the customer and being in charge of the customer. So I think that the most efficient scheme and most rapid scheme for reaching the market is still having a solid, reliable and well-known network which operates based on entrepreneurial spirit, which is still a key of success for the company. And having a partner which is an entrepreneur, which needs to deliver a balance sheet at the end of the year, and being safe and solid means that he will spend his life, his blood, his time in doing a good job. I use ourselves just as an example, but we are operating in this field for almost 60 years. And to the eyes of our customer, we are reliable. So if you are a newcomer and we distribute this newcomer, the customer...
it's added the credits.
Yeah. The customer will recognize a value because they assume that you already have done a selection of the best partner to work with. Yeah. And time-wise, we say that China is more advanced in this moment compared to other OEMs, to some other OEMs, but it's a question of times. The others are not sleeping; yeah. They are working.
Yes.
Then we are to catch the gap because they are scared. So this is a window of opportunity that is getting smaller and smaller, passing the days. So having somehow a way to get and enter the market in a fast way is a key of success that needs to not be undervalued.
We have noticed that some Chinese OEMs may have the attitude to be a little bit overconfident in their strength. And as Mattia said, the others are not sleeping and they are skilled.
吉安是一个讲话很绅士、很含蓄、很有语言艺术的人。当他这样说，我相信必有所指。从某种程度上，我认可他的看法。这次的电车在欧洲的第二季，我有一些比上次完全不同的发现。我从很多国际品牌的产品和他们正在做的事情中，看到了一些可能被大家忽视的重要事实。
You just mentioned you have been to China.
I was in China some years ago because I spent 6 months in Guangzhou.
Guangzhou?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I've done my exchange program when I was in university. So it's been a while that I was not coming back, and after some years, I found a China which has not slept in meanwhile, but has evolved a lot. I saw a huge step forward for the pollution. The air quality is getting better, and probably it's a mix of policy related to the production side and policies related to the circulating park and the restriction that were put in some cities in order to allow just the BEV probably in the city center, or let's say limit the circulation of the IC. So this is my first consideration. Related to the automotive, I think that the speed you had in evolve the products. I remember the products that were around at that years were not that fitting a European taste. Probably they were more focused in the Chinese taste. Now they got somehow more. Let's say international, probably is the right word, because they are matching both the Chinese taste and probably the Europe one. And I cannot talk for US, but I think they can be suitable. The companies are approaching the market is more mature, more structured, and with a different vision. I think one of the best thing of China is that you have the ability of doing a long-term plan and follow the long-term plan, which is something that is not easy for all the other continents. And you can really touch that the long-term plan are coming, and that there is an evolution, the evolution is real, and that the money that were invested probably 10 years ago now are getting to tangible results.
We were amazed by the technology we saw in several production sites we have been visiting, which were overcoming our expectation, I have to say. Obviously, we know also many Western OEMs, so we could compare a little bit. And we were amazed also by the quality of a greater part of the products and of the brands. What we were a little bit surprised about is, on one side, the question of size, which we were discussing before, but we saw also a lot of compact vehicles, super compact vehicles.
Yes.
Some of them really amazing. What we, in some cases, could not follow up is the fact that cars, models, or brands within groups are treated somehow like individual flowers popping up. Not often, or not always, we could see a kind of coherence, a kind of family approach to a product range. So there is one product of this kind and with a certain name, then another product of a completely different kind and with a different name, which is a little bit unusual for Europe. I don't want to say it's wrong or right. I simply say in Europe we are used to a different approach. So if you take a traditional European OEM, you can identify a certain family feeling, and this is easier for people to understand and to approach.
正如我在之前的一个视频中讲到的，很多时候更了解我们自己的其实是别人，所以通过这种双向的交流，有的时候能让你更清醒地认识自己。认识自己是非常困难的一件事情。
As I said, if you want to enter the place, if you want to sell something to someone, you need to understand the needs of this person. Whatever you are selling, whatever you are providing.
Exactly.
So it's just enough to have a walk around here, and you will understand already a lot, and you had this experience because you have been traveling around.
Yeah.
So you have seen how we drive, what cars we are using, how we park them or we don't park them, one on top of the other.
Yes. I have 1 year working for Fiat Chrysler Group in Shanghai. So at that time, our company sell Fiat 500 in China, but the sales volume is not good because Fiat 500 is too small for China market. But this time, after the travel in Italy, I find I think I have much more love for Fiat 500. But only travel in Italy will generate such kind of feeling.
In France, it will be the same. In Spain, it will be the same.
Yeah.
In Germany, as I said, different. Probably in Netherlands, also different.
Yeah.
So what's your vision about Chinese product in Europe?
He is still filming. Pay attention.
Yeah, I can understand. My vision about Chinese coming to Europe. I do hope some of the Chinese car makers can gain some share in Europe. And I understood it's not easy at all. And I do understand the European markets and the users are quite different with China. We have a different geography, and we have different culture, history, and a different infrastructure, different streets and the parking place. So the car products and the service could be quite different. One thing I also very agree with you is that for example, Volkswagen and the BMW, they are not sleeping. Yeah, they are good at something. They are not so good at something, but they will catch up, I think, in just 3 or 4 years. And currently, this time, the economy is like a combination globally. So, for example, Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon, they have something in advantage. What if their advantage combined with Volkswagen's advantage? I think that may create good products. So I think the competition could be very serious. And but as a Chinese, I do hope some of them would go to this market and survive and make a chance. And that's why I came here, because I want to find out something true, something meaningful and objective, and share with the people. Yeah.
访谈结束后的第2天，我们从意大利准备启程前往德国。这时候我忽然收到了吉安先生的微信，他说当你在机场或者是市中心，可以去小商店里找到一本汽车杂志，意大利文的，你不用读，看看里边的画就可以了。它展示了我们意大利人对于汽车的精神、激情和传承。这样的汽车灵魂今天至今依然敲打着意大利人的心房，这样的灵魂在今天应该被充分理解并重新演绎。此刻这本黄色封面的杂志正安静地躺在我们在上海的工作室里，每次我路过看到它的时候，都会回忆起在意大利米兰做的这个采访。今天我想说的是，如果我们能够把中国电动车工业优秀的硬实力与全世界人民各自不同的文化、情感和记忆巧妙地融合起来，我们就有机会真正创造出属于中国的奔驰、宝马、大众、丰田。成为宝马不是因为德国人喜欢它，而是因为全世界的人民都喜欢它。我相信于公于私，吉安先生也会特别愿意代理这样的一个品牌。